So by the power vested in me as the president of Queen City Toastmasters Club, but more importantly by you, the members of our club, I hereby call this meeting to order. Right, wonderful. So I'd like to direct everyone's attention to Toastmaster Jazzy, who will be leading us in the invocation.
Let us put ourselves in the holy presence of God. Lord Jesus Christ, we thank you for the gift of life and good health that you have blessed us. Thank you for everyone who's in the meeting right now, who are very willing to give inspiration to everyone. Jesus Christ, we pray for all the ones who are sick and who are the ones who are suffering and their family. Please give them strength. And we pray for the healing of everyone. In Jesus' name, we pray. Amen.
All right, thank you, Toastmaster Jazzy. So I'd like to direct everyone's attention to my screen. So please tell me if you can hear the audio. Hear the audio? Excuse me.
We can see you also.
Oh, sorry. All right, this time around. So I'd like to invite everyone to raise your right hands and keep yourself on mute while we recite in unison the Toastmasters promise.
The Toastmasters promise. As a member of Toastmasters International in my club, I promise to attend club meetings regularly, to prepare all of my speech and leadership projects to the best of my ability, basing them on Toastmasters education program, to prepare for and fulfill meeting assignments, to provide fellow members with helpful constructive evaluations, to help the club maintain the positive, friendly environment necessary for all members to learn and grow, to serve my club as an officer when called upon to do so, to treat my fellow club members and our guests with respect and courtesy, to bring guests to club meetings so they can see the benefits Toastmasters membership offers, to adhere to the guidelines and rules for all Toastmasters educational and recognition programs, to act within Toastmasters' core values of integrity, respect, service, and excellence during the conduct of all Toastmasters activities.
All right, everyone, you may now lower your hand. And tonight, we're also going to be led by a very special person in this meeting. So to introduce that person who's going to be guiding us through this journey through our own aspirations, I'd like to direct everyone's attention to one of our past presidents and the admin manager elect for the next Toastmasters year. Let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster Joy Pastor Fide Roman.
Right, fellow Toastmasters and friends, a pleasant evening to each and every one of you. It is, and I will always have it this way, that it will always be an honor for me to introduce this good friend of mine who's going to be your Toastmaster of the evening. I've known this person for about 3 years already, or 4. Just correct me, Toastmaster of the evening, if my memory serves me right because of old age. Pardon me. But nonetheless, the first time that I saw this person, he really had this very intriguing persona and aura, if you will, just because he has this, the eyes really resonates like interest, and it's spark, he has this spark really when it comes to learning and self-development. This person, this toastmaster of the evening, for tonight, our toastmaster for the evening, that is also a student leader. When he was still in college, he actually led the students organization in one of the top universities here in Cebu. And other than that, I mean, from the time that he joined Toastmasters, I think he was the youngest member ever, if I'm not mistaken, who have entered or signed up for Toastmasters. He then was able to propel his development, his quest for self-development through the numerous speeches that he was able to deliver, challenge himself to enter contests, and also was able to take on a lot of club officer roles year after year after year. Fellow Toastmasters and friends, I would like to introduce to you this very special friend of mine who's going to lead everyone into a very aspirational meeting, I guess, I believe tonight. Let's all welcome a good friend of mine, Toastmaster Joel Emmanuel Soliano.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Joy. It's always a pleasure to be introduced by you, as you always regard me as a close friend and someone you've witnessed so much of my growth about, and you always talk about me so warmly. So thank you for that wonderful introduction. And good evening, everyone. I hope you're all comfortable and I hope you're all set for tonight. We're going to be talking about aspirations. But don't fret, we won't be getting too much into the deep details. But I do hope that we get to reminisce a little bit and appreciate where we are in our current lives. So for tonight, for this meeting, I'd like to show everyone the program for tonight, just so we're all in the same page before we go on moving forward with the program. Give me 2 seconds as I share my screen, and here it is. So we have just finished our preliminaries and we are well on our way to enjoying the rest of the evening through the education portion. And so tonight, I'm also going to be talking about a little of the theme. So before everything, please be guided that we're going to have our educational portion here, and I will be guiding you throughout the way. And towards the end, we are going to then have our evaluation portion. Now, for the benefit of our guests, a typical Toastmaster meeting, a regular, as you might say, has 3 parts, and these main parts are here in bold underlines. We already finished our preliminaries. We'll then move to sort of the meat of the meeting with our education portion, and then we will conclude with the evaluation portion. So those are the 3 major parts in a typical Toastmasters meeting. And please be guided and remember which part we're in so you have a gauge of where we are at the meeting. Now, about aspirations. This theme, when it was disclosed, or when I took the theme and became the Toastmaster of the evening, first I thought about it a little bit. I have to admit I kind of struggled since it's a bit broad and it can get personal, but it's hard to get into all the details in one sitting. But here's what I will ask everyone to do. I'm confident that everyone has had aspirations at some point of their life. So before we move forward, let's just take a quick pause. Take a deep breath. Just join me as I inhale and exhale. Maybe one more for good measure. We just inhale and exhale. And at this point, I'd ask you to maybe try and think of one aspiration, one dream, one goal you had, maybe in the past, or maybe you do have now. Something you want to be, or something you want to achieve, somewhere you want to go. Again, take a quick moment to breathe in and out. Maybe think what has been your aspiration or what have been your goals so far? And stir it up a little bit by asking one of our members what their childhood aspiration was. May I ask, Sir Gary, Toastmaster Gary, was there an aspiration you had growing up?
Yes, thank you for that. I do have lot of aspirations. I started as I wanted to become an astronaut, just like uh, Neil Armstrong, and I find it. I already said this in my first speech that I wanted to be like Yuri Gagarin, who was the first cosmonaut who think navigate the I don't know the right term the he was the first cosmonaut who went to space, right? But as soon as I went to art school, I really wanted to be like Michelangelo. So as you can see in my background, it is he's painting the Sistine Chapel. So he is now remembered as one of the greatest, or arguably the greatest artist when he took up this challenge, painting the Sistine Chapel. That's all, Joel.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Toastmaster Gary, for sharing such a touching sentiment. So from astronaut, cosmonaut to an artist and a painter. And if you are connected with Toastmaster Gary in social media, in Facebook particularly, you can see his works when he publishes them. You can see his success when his works get published for him. So that's a congratulations to you, Toastmaster Gary, for realizing your aspirations. Now, for everyone, just hold on onto those aspirations that you remember. Maybe you had buried aspirations, or maybe you have something you are working on right now. Hold on to them as we move forward. And it's a perfect note to move forward since Toastmaster Gary said that he is now, or he finished art school, he is now painting. And if you don't know already, he's also teaching fine arts. So now, moving forward, the rest of the meeting, I'd like us to focus on aspirations, and as people, how do we make them real? So throughout the meeting, I'll be sprinkling in some insight and some thoughts on how we can connect ourselves and the realities of our aspirations moving forward. So, the first part I think one should do is to know exactly what you want. If you don't have an answer to what your aspiration is, maybe you want to start by expanding your horizon, by exploring, or by introspecting and thinking, what do you really want to be, to become, or to do? In the spirit of expanding our horizons, we are now moving to the first portion of the educational portion of our meeting. Right here, we are easing into the education portion with our first, that's going to be the heart souls connection. So, same as we get a feel of ourselves and expand our horizons and learn new things, here we will be delighted by the following Toastmasters with our prepared set of segments. So now, allow me to welcome for our Heart Souls connection, our President Toastmaster Miko. Toastmaster Miko, please take the stage.
All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Joel. So this portion, it might be new to some, and if you were around last meeting, it's definitely not new to you. But the point of this part of the meeting is that there were Toastmasters from a different club who noticed there was something missing from this online meeting setup that we have, and that is the personal connection and getting to know Toastmasters or not or our guests before the meeting. So what's going to happen in this section is that we're going to flash a quote. Then after we're gonna flash, we're gonna ask you to ponder in this quote, talk about a bit. What do you think about this quote? In your breakout rooms. So you're going to be sent to a breakout room about maybe 3 to 5 people each room, and we're gonna give everyone enough time to really get to know each other, and as because it's always better to make friends. So Tonight, we're going to be reflecting on this quote. So, somewhat similar to aspirations, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. Once again, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So, time right now is 7:29. Let's round that up to 7:30. I'm opening the breakout rooms now, and let's have 5 minutes each for our participants. Excuse me, 1 minute each to share their thoughts. So please take the time to get to know each other and see you in. Hello, welcome back to the main room. Is Joel here? Oh, there's Joel. Hey, Joel. So, so that's it for our heart souls connection. I hope that everyone got a bit more connected and acquainted through that experience. I'd like to notice Toastmaster Aprilline's baby there, very cute. That's not your baby. Pardon my language. It's not her baby specifically, but she has a baby there. Okay. It's very important to be intentional with our language. And that ties into our next portion in the program, which is the word of the night. But I'll pass you back to our uh, Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Joel.
All right, thank you. Wonderful. Thank you, Toastmaster Miko, and wonderful segment. That was my first time experiencing it, and I do agree it is something that I've missed from the face-to-face interactions and face-to-face meetings last year. And I think maybe we can explore the thoughts of others around this idea, but for me, I am go for it and I enjoyed it really. So now, moving forward in our meeting, we are going to learn even more and even broaden our horizons even more with maybe a refresh of English, a special word, or maybe we'll get to learn a new word entirely. But for all that thrill, I will leave it to our president again, who is going to be spearleading us through the word of the night. So please welcome back to the stage Toastmaster Miko and Nari.
All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Joel. So, just like I mentioned earlier, there is a necessity for us to be intentional with the language that we use. But oftentimes, especially for some of us where English is not our first language, sometimes there's a thought that we want to express, but we don't have the right word for it. Now, we can't guarantee here in Toastmasters that we're gonna learn the entire English vocabulary, like we're going to turn through the dictionary page by page, but we learn it one word at a time. So this is our word of the night portion. I hope you can see my screen. Or word of the night, or as I'd like to call it, how to sound more impressive without sounding pretentious, hopefully. Trademark pending. So the word of the night tonight has these. So it has the synonym of deviate, diverge, to turn away from, depart, or off on a tangent. So I wonder if there's anyone that's going to be able to guess our word for tonight. So there might be a couple of words, but our word for tonight specifically, it starts with the letter D and ends with the letter S. So once again, it starts with the letter D and ends with the letter S. So that's D for dog, S for Sam. And again, this this is our list of synonyms. So no, the answer is not des. Again, the synonyms are deviate, diverge, turn away, depart, or to go off tangent. So does anyone have any guesses? Guess isn't the word either. Perfect. So Toastmaster Des got it. Truly our poet and our literary for Queen City Toastmasters Club. It is digress. So digress, pronounced that way, digress, or it's also pronounced this way. I asked Google, digress, digress. So, how do you use digress in a sentence? So, have you ever had a conversation with someone and you don't want to continue talking about whatever you're talking about? Maybe you were talking about something better and then you suddenly started talking about Philippine politics. So, maybe you want to change the topic of our conversation. Other times, we would say something, can I sidetrack this conversation? Can I change the topic? Maybe that is too direct. That's where the word digress comes into play. So instead of just saying, can I sidetrack? Instead of just saying, can I change the topic? Maybe it's too direct. You can say, can I digress from this topic? So again, my hopes for the word of the night is that we sound more impressive and hopefully not pretentious. So that's what digress is. And honestly, this isn't actually a word I discovered myself. This is actually a word taught to me when I was a debater in high school. So I'd like to ask for some volunteers to use the word of the night, digress. And again, it's digress. It's not digress. Do we have some volunteers who'd like to use the word of the... Okay, we have Toastmaster Mariam, followed by Toastmaster...
Sorry. Seriously? No. Okay, I know. Well, Nico, earlier, someone asked if this is a reunion, but I know I volunteered Toastmaster Miko, but I would like to digress and ask everyone to please turn on your camera if your internet permits it. Okay?
All
There you
right.
go. See, that's
Wow.
where.
All right, let's give Toastmaster Mariam a round of applause. Amazing. And a good reminder, if your internet can take it, where most of us who are on data can't, if you can, please turn on your videos for this meeting. All right, so we had one other volunteer. Let's have Toastmaster DJ.
So as not to digress, I will not tell a story about my sister Dulce Grace, who our house help used to call Di Grace.
Let's give a round of applause to Sir D. I have a special request. Let us ask our general evaluator, Toastmaster Nico, to choose someone in the meeting to talk about the word of the night.
I'm looking at one of our guests. I'm not quite sure if she's a Toastmaster. Oh, that's already a hit. I'm gonna call somebody who's a female. I'm looking at guest Zoe, or is it Zoe or Zoe? Zoe Arugay.
Hello, it's Zoe. Sorry, I'm not sure what am I going to do. Am I going to digress from the current topic? I am not quite sure.
That's the best example, ladies and gentlemen.
Perfect. All right. Thank you, our
Practicality at
guest.
its best.
Thank you, our guest,
Toastmaster Zoe.
Zoe. So, for that portion, we're just asking our participants to give one sentence using the word of the night. But you did it so effortlessly. So let's give Zoe a round of applause. All right. So I hope that everyone thoroughly enjoyed our word of the night tonight, and hopefully you can use it for the rest of the evening. I also hope that also part of your vocabulary, which now improves the way that you speak again without sounding too pretentious. So back to you, our Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Miko. You always hold on. All right. You always give us something to laugh about and something to enjoy when you give us your portion of the program. And you always prepare them so well, and there's always a surprise. But talking about all of that would just be me digressing from our program, because now we are going to move to our pocket learning sessions where we are to learn maybe a new skill for something, for an aspiration that we already have, or maybe we learn about a new aspiration and hone a skill that we already have. So now we are going to move to our pocket learning session, and allow me to introduce and talk a little more about what this portion is. So for our guests, Toastmasters and non-Toastmasters alike, pocket learning session is maybe not something you will find in all Toastmasters meetings. This was a brainchild, or this is a brainchild and a project of distinguished Toastmaster Joy Pastorfide Roman, where she envisioned that within clubs there would be training opportunities where one Toastmaster member can share their experiences, their insights, their studies to other members of the club. So kind of like a localized learning platform. And here in Queen City Toastmasters, we give that Toastmaster 10 to 15 minutes You're on mute, Toastmaster Joel.
Joel, you got muted,
Oh,
Joel.
have I been on mute the whole time?
You left off after explaining a bit about PLS already.
Oh, sorry. I don't know how that happened. So maybe there's someone in the room. All right. So, yeah. So, Pocket Learning Session is some sort of localized learning platform where one Toastmaster member can share whatever they want about leadership and public speaking to the rest of the attendees. And we give that Toastmaster 10 to 15 minutes to speak. And for tonight, this pocket learning session is titled The Power of Three for a Quick Response. And this is going to be evaluated by our general evaluator. Please do take note, Toastmaster Advanced Communicator Bronze, Advanced Leader Bronze, Nico Velasquez. And tonight's pocket session master is going to be Advanced Communicator Gold, Advanced Leader Bronze, Toastmaster Desiree Balota. Please give her a round of applause as we launch the screen.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Joel. Good evening once again, everyone, and welcome to Toastmasters, the meeting of Queen City Toastmasters tonight. I'm going to share the topic, quick response. Kindly share the first, there you go. Okay, the first slide, the power of three for a quick response. Now, why this topic? Let's first have the first slide, Toastmaster Joel. Okay. The first slide, the title slide, the power of three for a quick response. First slide, okay, there. Now, why this? This is in response to the general evaluation last meeting, in which the main point is actually cohesiveness. There is a theme. Okay, and tonight the theme is aspiration. And the challenge actually for everyone who's going to speak is to make the theme aspiration as the anchor for his or her speech. Okay, so that is how it is, that it is the challenge, and we are also encouraged to do that. Now, because the tendency is, if we are so passionate about a certain topic, that passion may make our topic digress from the theme of the evening. So how can our topics that we are passionate about, connect to the theme, and how can we make it very cohesive? How can we make our speeches cohesive? How can we align our speeches to the theme? Sometimes it could be a challenge, considering that delivering or preparing speeches for Toastmasters is not the only thing that we are going to do. We have our families, we have our work, we have our studies, and other involvements. We have different roles. So how may we have this particular, how can we strategize so that it's not really going to be very stressful to make the theme our anchor, the anchor, or the, what do you call that? It's going to be the center of what we are going to share. Next slide, please. Next slide. The theme of tonight is aspiration. And when it comes to delivering speeches, this is what we aspire for, the ideal speech. The ideal speech is fitting and outstanding, and it's also challenging and unyielding, yet it is sensitive and empowering. So how can we do that? Such expectation could be intimidating. Now, how can it be less intimidating, or how can it be less overwhelming? Next slide, please. Okay, now let's say I am the speaker and I love to talk about defamiliarization. And to be able to defamiliarize, I would like to share surrealist images through a symbolist poem. And thus I have this verse, on Hope Field. When you see twilights as rosebuds, certain of dawn's blooms, your thorned midnights will wither, even before the cocooned sunrise. Butterflies onto dayflowers blossoming to bouquet your rose-filled noons. Okay, so that's what I intend to share because I would like to introduce myself and share with you what I love to do. And then I am going to share this poem. Now, if I am the speaker, I have to bear in mind that my audience has different, the members of my audience have different preferences and persuasions. So I have to tailor my passion, something that I really love to share, to something that is going to be easily relatable or at least less difficult to relate to. So before I present this or right after I present this, I might want to consider doing or sharing these terms. Next slide, please. Okay, there. So I have to consider that I have to identify, I have to locate, and I have to substantiate. I must have that in mind first. Okay, identify, locate, and substantiate, meaning I am going to identify what it is about on Hopefield that I am going to invite the listeners to focus on. And then I am going to locate certain themes or images that will help forward its message. And then I am going to say a little something about it, that is the substantiation. Next slide, please. And speaking of identify, locate, and substantiate, I am going to invite the audience to review. Okay, so I would like to stress the hyphen in after the letter E, the first letter E, that's review. Okay, so view in a different way. And then resound, all right? So listen or echo in a different way. And then remark. So that is make a different mark. So with that, when I explain those 3 points, then I am going to make the topic closer to the audience. It is not a guarantee though that the topic is going to be grasped right away as easily as a very familiar topic can be grasped, considering that this is a technical, but at least having these 3 markers will already help in focusing or getting the audience to focus on what is going to be shared. Next slide, please. Okay, so there. Now 3 points. It has always been said, the title said, power of 3 for a quick response. To review, in order to determine or in order to come up with a speech, it is important to know the general purpose of our speech. That's number 1. What is your general purpose or your speech is general purpose going to be? So to inform, persuade, entertain, or inspire. And then the specific purpose. So you're going to inform through, or you're going to persuade by doing what? Or you're going to entertain with what? All right, with a story, an example. So what is it? So that general purpose, and then through, by, or with. All right, and then proceed to 3 talking points. Why do I make mention of 3 many times? So 3 talking points, because when we say 3 talking points, it is but helpful that our points are easy to remember, because if there are too many of them, the tendency is to forget most of them. So, and our speeches in Toastmasters are short. So keep it short and simple, meaning make the speech kissable. Keep it short and simple. Next. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so there, one example, information to inform. I will inform my audience that spoken word poetry is a good way to educate and engage an audience for better participation in national and local issues. I will give a performance poem. I'm going to perform a short spoken word poem and discuss the 3 main points on the piece in relation to current events. It's supposed to be, I will perform. Okay, delete the give. Sorry about that. Now, that is the how, okay? There, so that is the through or the with or the by. That is the how, right? So identify the general purpose of your speech and then move to the specific purpose. It is important that such could be easily, the speaker could locate such to have a directed speech, meaning there would be no points that would digress. Next, okay. And then we have, I will persuade my audience that our country can rise above the normalization of death and deception. I'm going to share the story of a senior home, an orphanage, and a scholarship foundation. So those are the ways to substantiate. Okay, there. So that is one, that's another example. All right. So that's telling the story of a senior home, then an orphanage, and a scholarship foundation. So that is to forward the culture of life. All right. So there. Now, next one, please. Next slide. I will entertain my audience by sharing the color, the psychology, and the poetry of hugot. Okay, so there, ang pag-ibig ko sa iyo ay parang taho. Mabigat mang dalhin ni pagsisigawan pa rin. All right, so there. I heard that from someone. Okay, there. And the next one, number 4. I will inspire. So to inspire, all right? I will inspire my audience by telling the story of a friend who overcame financial, health, and relationship challenges and went on to top her class, pass the board exam, find a good employment, and have a thriving business. Okay, there. So either of the 4. And then the most important thing on the quick response. Next slide, please. Okay, so 3 talking points. Locate 3 talking points, okay, from what you love to share. Now, I actually interviewed some friends of mine, okay, and Ayo is past vice president education of Queen City Toastmasters, okay. Because she practices yoga, so I told her, if you are going to share about yoga and you are going to anchor your speech and aspiration, what three words, okay, are you going to pick so that you are going to be able to anchor your speech about yoga on aspiration? And then right away she said balance, strength, and practice. All right. So with the technical terms, with the specifics of yoga, let's say if that is you, then those 3 major points will be the talking points, and then you are going to substantiate each. So identify 3 talking points, and then so locate how these 3, so in yoga, for example, how you are going to present them, all right, there, and then substantiate by giving specific examples. Next one, all right, so he is here. Next slide, please. John, all right, he is, he teaches and he practices OT. So I said, what 3 words specific to your profession can you anchor on aspiration, or can you relate to aspiration? So there, he said client-centered, goal-oriented, and purposeful, all right? So all these did not take a lot of time for Io and for John to be able to have those 3 talking points, okay? Then when you already have that, then you can just locate, all right, specifics from where you are, all right, what you would like to share, so that there would be cohesive speech, so there won't be points, or avoid points or statements that would have you digress from the general and specific purpose of your speech. Next one, please. And then I have my friend Chris, who has just started in trading, and she is an accountant by profession. And then I asked her same question, and then she said objectivity, calculation, and progress. And in fact, she even explained to me what those points mean. All right, so there, because I told her, if you're going to tell someone who is trading illiterate like me, what are you going to tell me? And then she mentioned those points that I should remember if I am to succeed. All right, there. So with that, that's locating those 3 points. And how about you? All right, so think about what it is that you would love to share, and then think about how you could anchor it on or relate it, right, to the theme that is given. And so for the officers, might want to give the theme, let's say at least 5 days before the meeting, the Toastmasters meeting. All right, and the next one, please. All right, how much time do I have left? I thought that I wanted to, that I could check out my timer. But anyway, proceeding. Tips, all right? So how can you locate those 3? Then think of topics. 3 topics that you would like to use as side heads, all right? So you're going to have topic 1 and then substantiate, topic 2 and then substantiate, and then topic 3 and then substantiate. All right, so Toastmaster Gary, how many minutes do I have left, or am I over time already? All right, then number 2, we have here, okay, I have 2 minutes more. Okay, there, 2 minutes more. So another tip is letters, okay? By having, some say that it is my trademark, but actually when I do that, that is actually because I do not have a lot of time. All right. So what I am sharing also what works for me. Maybe you have another way to do it, but it works for me. Maybe you could consider it. All right. So what I'm going to share. So let's say I have to share something, and then the topic is aspiration, or the theme is aspiration. So I'm going to use the letters in the word aspire. So you have the AS, arrange and substantiate. All right, this is how to do it when you write. For me, the ideal speech, all right, if you're going to write that ideal speech, so you got to arrange your points and substantiate each. And then after doing that, you have to polish your speech, and then intensify. You're going to intensify by what? By using more appropriate words, or you're going to intensify through your delivery, through your use of purposeful or meaningful gestures and meaningful gestures, okay? And then review, meaning offer something different, offer something fresh, and then got to excel, all right? So it may be a tall order, yes, but it is good to aspire for something better. It is good to aspire for something which is going to motivate us and actually give us the trigger that we are going to present something better and also become better. The number 3 also is pictures. So actually the literal pictures, let's say this is my topic, and then so that I could proceed, then I am going to have that picture as a sensory trigger, right? But actually when I have the picture, then we go back to the 3 talking points. What is it about the picture that is going to say, for example, be able to make the concept of engineering close to people who are engineering illiterate like me, something like that. All right, so next slide, please. Okay, so with that, then I go back to my sharing. So I'm going to explain the images, or I'm going to not explain actually, but actually guide the listeners and the readers to what the images would like to invite the readers or listeners to consider, and then I go back to the invitation to review, resound, and remark. Because next slide, please. Okay, we are aspiring for, next slide, please. We are aspiring for an ideal speech. An ideal speech is focused. Yes, letters once again. It is fitting and outstanding, FO, challenging and unyielding, so CU. Yet it is sensitive, S, and empowering, E. In short, it is a dream. But it's not enough to dream. It's not enough to aspire. I remember Kevin, one of the good Cebuano, excellent Cebuano writers, who said, stop aspiring and start writing. Right? So aspire and take action. Then next slide, please. As what Paul Valery said, the best way to make your dreams come true is to wake up. Good evening. Back to you, Joel.
Amazing. Thank you, Toastmaster Des. And a round of applause, please, for our resident teacher, poet, and writer. Round of applause. Right. Thank you once again, Toastmaster Des, for sharing with us the fruit of your experience in Toastmasters and outside of Toastmasters. So I hope everyone, you take something home today. For me personally, I hooked onto these following tips, to highlight the general purpose and specific purposes of my speech, and then emphasize 3 talking points. I also really like Toastmaster Des's emphasis on letters or signposts and sensory triggers, something which I very much like to use in my speeches as well. So thank you again, Toastmaster Des, for sharing with us these tips on how to make our speeches greater and have more impact. And of course, as Toastmasters, we always aspire to excel and to be better and to have focused speeches. I hope you all remembered the meaning of the letters of focus. And now, we are going to apply directly what you have learned into our next portion, because we are going to have the most exciting part of a Toastmasters meeting. We are moving on to our table topics portion. And for our guests who may not be familiar with table topics, this is the part in a Toastmasters meeting where we focus on impromptu or off the cuff speaking, where we are presented with maybe a thought, a topic, or a quote, and then we are to give our thoughts on the said topic. This way, we can practice our impromptu speaking and thinking on our feet. So it's not just the prepared speeches that we practice here at Toastmasters, we also have table topics. For the rest of the details and of course the segment itself, I will leave all that to our table topics master. Please help me welcome our table topics master for the evening. He is dynamic leadership proficient, presentation mastery proficient, advanced communicator silver, and competent leader Toastmaster DJ.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and friends. I did not digress. The intent for that is because our theme for tonight has something to do with taking a step back, reflecting, aspiration. And this is a good way not only for us to get to know deeper about each other, but also for us to be able to think about what we dream, what we aspire, who we are today, and who we can be. Because when these things are clear to all of us, then fear disappears. We would be very interested, even excited, to participate in this particular segment, which is what we call the table topics. For the benefit of our non-Toastmasters guests, and also even to the members, there are so many formats that we use. But the intent of these formats is not exactly to put our thoughts in a box. The format will actually help us deliver a complete answer, even if it's just a short speech, which is 1 to 2 minutes. So that means it still has a clear opening, a body, and a closing. So there are many formats, but there are 3 formats that I will be suggesting just for the evening. First is point, reason, why we made that point, and then we make an example, preferably a personal one, and then we go back to our point. So that's what we call prep. Second possible format, which is quite a favorite, especially for us Filipinos, because we are good storytellers. So we open our answer with a story, and then we deliver our message, what we want to convey to the audience, and what we wish the audience would gain. So that's SMG. And then the other format, which I am also recommending for the evening, is RM. Usually it applies when the topic requires a yes or a no. So we give an answer, and then we give our reason why we agree or we disagree. We provide an example, preferably personal, and then we deliver the message that we wish to convey to the audience. So is everybody ready? Such a wonderful photo, no? Okay. Topic number 1. Aspire not to have more, but to be more. Again, aspire not to have more, but to be more. And I have already pre-selected the participants, and we will start with Rans Medina. Rans.
Aspire high, aim high. Good evening, Toastmasters. When I was still in my high school years, I competed as well for impromptu speech or table topics in our platform right now. And my mentor always challenged me to go beyond the typical research that I do. And the most vital point that she shared with me was to become authentic in any way. My dear friends, she empowered me that it is only through heart that you can convey your message across clearly. And once you are so empowered, are you willing to empower others as well? Ergo, when I competed, it's not about winning, but it's about empowering and sharing my voice of how can I be of great service to my audience in a particular topic. That's why I gained a lot, and it's about for me to share as well. It's not just about having more, but to be more to others as well. And that's the only time that you can say you are more than the life you have. And that is by giving your life to others. My dear friends, aim high, aspire high. Good evening.
Thank you, Rans, for sharing to us that to be more is to be authentic because that's the best way to empower others. Absolutely cool. Our next topic, still something to do with aspiration, but this time it's about trying to fit or trying not to fit to a certain standard or mold. The topic is stop shrinking to fit to places you have outgrown. Stop shrinking to fit to places you have outgrown. And our outstanding speaker who will speak to us through this is a senior high teacher. Let's welcome Zyril Enriquez.
Oh my gosh. Hi, sir. Good evening, everyone. I've missed everyone actually. I'm just taking a break from our shooting, but that's why I'm here. So, excuse me. So, stop shrinking to fit places you've outgrown. All my life, I wanted to always fit in with people that I want to learn with. I always think that if I learn these things, I would be part of a clique. I would be accepted in a certain group. And there I would feel like I have friends, I have someone to accompany me with. But sometimes fitting in doesn't only mean that I'm gonna want to just stay there. Fitting in sometimes taught me to learn more other than just being in that group. For example, me trying to be a leader just because I wanted to get rid of my stage frights, to be more confident in myself. And I thought that fitting in with other leaders would make me feel confident. But when I started learning more what a leader is, that leaders are people as well, that we can give more to other communities and not just in our group, I started to make my plate bigger. This time, I decided not to just fit in the group of people that I'm learning with, but to expand my learnings more by making my plate bigger. Now I have been branching out I am not just a student leader, I'm now a community leader. At the same time, I'm experimenting on the talents that I have. So, you know, you learn more things about yourself when you outgrow, when you make your plate bigger. So yeah, it is true to stop shrinking to fit the places you've outgrown. I guess that's it for me. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sir DJ.
Thank you, Cyril. I think it's already read, so we're down to our last topic. No, but you mentioned about not being stuck, but actually expanding. So it has something to do with flying. And our last topic for the evening, still about aspiration. This time, I think it's important. No, so intelligence without aspiration is like a bird without wings. Intelligence without aspiration is a bird without wings. I'd like to hear from you, Lisa, about this.
Hello, good evening. Okay, so intelligence without aspiration is a bird without wings. So it's like you don't have a northern star that you follow. It's like your guide that you look up to for the direction of your life. So no matter how intelligent you are and you are not using it for the good purpose, it is useless. So like me, I've always wanted to become a when I was younger, I've always wanted to become a what do you call this, a stewardess, because I always want to travel the world. But when I grow up, I became a hotelier. And before I became a hotelier, an HR staff. And I was kind of astray when I was back in HR, because I just graduated from college at that time, and I studied psychology because my mom asked me to become one. And it's not really my decision to become a psychology graduate. So when I started working, I didn't really like the course of job that I did. So no matter no matter how intelligent you are, how good you are, because I was one of the good students in my class back when I was in psychology. But since I didn't really like that course, so I did not succeed in what I did. But when I became a hotelier, which is what I like most, this is where I excel the most. I helped my members to excel in their departments as well, and I became a good leader to them. I've shown I've what do you call this? I've encouraged most of my staff to do well with what they do. And it's like that. If you have like a northern star for what you do, an aspiration of what you want to become in your life, no matter how intelligent you are, if you don't have those, you'd be astray in your life, because that's not really what you wanted to become. So you always left incomplete at the end of the day. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa, no, for sharing. And that success is not just about intelligence, but it's also about following our passion, our aspiration. So I think our time is already up. So I'll just walk you through about the topic that did not make it to tonight, which is about life is a game and always play to win. And it could have been Gary. And the final topic, which is about big results require big aspiration. And this could have been Michael. But anyway, not everyone had the chance to participate in tonight's table topics, but for sure, all of us have dreams, goals, ambition, aspiration. Now, let me ask you this. What is it? What makes you cry? What makes you laugh? What makes your soul come alive? Because along all this is your aspiration, who you are and who you can be. Joel?
I'm just enjoying the music. Beautiful Toastmaster DJ. Thank you for that touching and just beautiful table topic segment. To answer your question, I cried in relief because I knew I wouldn't be called. I laughed because I knew we're going to be called. And my soul came alive because I learned so much from our speakers. To be honest, I also aspire to be a better person always, to become a better version of myself. And I know a lot of us also do here in Toastmasters. But what I did learn specifically from our speakers tonight were how important really it is to have a guide for my life. That I must always be seeking to expand and make my plate bigger. And at the end of the day, I should strive to have been authentic and have been in service to more and more people. So again, thank you, Toastmaster DJ, and thank you to our speakers tonight for sharing such beautiful feedback. Now we are almost halfway through our meeting, and I'd like to invite everyone to take another set of deep breaths as we ease ourselves into our prepared speeches. So before we get into that, let's all take a deep breath in and out. In the beginning of this meeting, I asked everyone to remember what aspiration you had in the past, or maybe reimagine what aspiration you have right now. And in the beginning as well, I wanted us to focus on how we can make these aspirations real. The first point was to make them real, you need to find out what they are. The second point is, how are you going to get it? How are you going to get to that place you want to be? How are you going to get that job you want? How are you going to be that person that you want to be? With your answers in the past in mind, I'd like to maybe get get a story or an answer from one of our guests. I would love to hear about how are you getting or how do you get your aspiration? Toastmaster Jeeves. Hello and surprise. But
And
if you would like, maybe can you share to us how would you get your aspiration?
I thought I escaped table topics. Anyway, I told the breakout group last a while ago that I just came from 100-kilometer bike rides. I told Joy that I thought I wouldn't make it, but my dream is really to get fit. And to get fit, to get to your dreams, I feel that we really need to suffer, like doing insane, crazy stuff, like doing 100 kilometers under the hot sun and under the pouring rain. Yes, that's what I did today. And I think it'll all be worth it because if we get the dream, no matter how ugly it gets, no matter how painful it gets, no matter how totally insane and totally, pardon the word, wasak, which is how I feel right now, I think it'll all be worth it. And back
All
to you.
right. Thank you. Amazing, amazing Toastmaster Jeeves. And I'm amazed at how you could still attend the meeting with energy after 100 kilometers on a bike
Yeah,
in
me
the
too.
heat. Oh, you as well. So I'm glad you're enjoying, and I hope you are enjoying. And sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of the evening. No more surprises. So thank you once again for sharing Toastmaster Jeeves. And truly enough, no pain, no gain. So we are now one step closer to making our aspirations real. And we really have to go through the motions, roll with the punches, and brave any storm. Tonight, we are going to be listening to two special individuals who are braving the storm and rolling with the punches. For this part in the Toastmasters experience, for our non Toastmaster guests, we focus on a curriculum and all of our projects revolve around the curriculum, which we call the Pathways Learning Experience. In here or through here, we get to choose what kind of speaker we want to be, or we get to select what kind of skill set we would like to develop. And then we go through specific projects that are tailored to make us better at that skill set. For these two Toastmasters, they have already selected the skill sets that they want to improve in. And so tonight they are delivering projects, part of that skill set, and they are honing and braving the storm and the elements to practice their skills. We are now moving to our prepared speeches portion. Our first speaker is going to be delivering a speech from the engaging humor path. Fun fact for everyone, this is the third path for this speaker, meaning he already completed one path, his effective coaching, and then he is halfway or more than halfway through his dynamic leadership, and now he is delving into engaging humor. Since he is just starting this third path, he is going to deliver his icebreaker project, which has the objectives of introducing the Toastmaster to the club or the attendees, and then kind of getting a warm up to public speaking. This speech will be evaluated by one of our new, but one of also our most attentive members, Toastmaster Chai Espina. The title is Never Enough. Again, the speech is Never Enough, to be delivered by our president, effective coaching proficient, dynamic leadership 3, Toastmaster Miko Enari. Again, a round of applause, please, to our first speaker, Toastmaster Miko Enar.
All right, thank you, Joel. Can you hear me well?
Loud
I
and
actually
clear.
haven't done this before, so I hope you can hear me. Hi, my name is Miko, and I'm the mayor of One Mercury. So I'm a very shy person, and I don't know why my classmates elected me to be the class president or class mayor. And I hope I can do a good job, but um, I don't really know how to speak Bisaya well. But I hope that I can get to know everyone. When I was in first year high school, I was elected as the class president, or what we call the mayor in our section. And the reason for which isn't because of any merit of myself, any strong communication skills, or other skills which are blessed by God, but I was elected as the mayor because of my dad being the president of our homeroom PTA. When I was a high school student, I didn't know anything about leadership. I didn't even know how to talk to my classmates because I grew up speaking English and I got enrolled in a public school. But lo and behold, 5 years later, 6 years later, things had changed. Hi, my name's Miko, and I'm the Prime Minister of the Debate Society in Cebu Institute of Technology. I'm also the president of the Regional Association for Computer Engineers for Student Edition here in Region 7. I'm also the president of three other clubs. When I was in high school, when I was a first year, I never thought that I'd become someone who'd be so entrenched in leadership. When I became a junior in college, these dreams of mine have been so fulfilled. The person I aspired to be, I had become. When I sought after something, when I wanted to be a better leader, I immediately got what I want. I rise through the ranks. I became the president of multiple organizations. And something that I wanted to grow kept growing. My, not my successes. What happened to me, ladies and gentlemen, is something that I want everyone to learn from. I've been a student leader since I was in first year high school. And now that's about 10 years ago. So I've been a student leader and a leader in many different respects for a long time. But the thing that I sought to improve, I wanted to grow my experiences, I wanted to grow my humility, but two things grew instead. First, and second, and second, what grew instead was my ego. When I became the president of the Regional Association of Computer Engineers, I became the head of multiple institutions. Someone who was not yet even a graduate of computer engineering was ahead of I think it was seven organizations of different computer engineers all around Region 7. But how did things change? The more that I learned about leadership, the more that I realized something. I realized that true leadership isn't about the title that I got of being the president. Look at me. You should call me president because I deserve it. It wasn't like that. Being a real leader was about how I changed the lives of the people I met. And now that we're here in the pandemic, the way I introduce myself is also different. So I went from, hi, my name is Miko, very timid, to very assertive. Hi, my name is Miko. I'm the president of a lot of things. But now, online, it's, hi, my name is Miko, and I'm a person just like you. The question I want to ask fellow Toastmasters and friends is, we all have aspirations. Which one of those aspirations led you down the wrong path? And are you willing to accept it? I wanted to be a leader because I wanted to help people, but I became someone who just sought after credentials, who just sought after entries into my curriculum vitae, instead of thinking about the people I'm leaving behind with these organizations that eventually leave without helping anymore. But now I've learned better, and I've become someone who I think I can respect. The question, ladies and gentlemen, tonight is, which of the aspirations have led you to become a person that you respect? Thank you, and back to you, Toastmaster of the evening.
Thank you, Toastmaster Miko, and a round of applause, please, to our president. Thank you again, and it's true. I agree, Toastmaster Miko, that leadership, being a president, is never about the position. It shouldn't ever be. I was also a student leader in my time, and I have taken into heart something that our president once said. Toastmaster Miko, you might know him as Melvin Dangin, and he said, leave a place better than how you found it. Toastmasters and friends, he was our president, but he was the humblest, and he saw himself as any other member in our team. So there you have it. Thank you again, Toastmaster Miko, for introducing yourself to us for the third time, and we now know and appreciate you very very much. Now we move to our second prepared speech of the evening, and this speech is going to be a project that belongs to the dynamic leadership path. This is a project that belongs to the level 5 and is actually an elective. For this project, Toastmasters titled it as Lessons Learned, and they say that this is the objectives are to address how to identify discussion points of a large group meeting, encourage a culture of contribution and voicing opinions, and to facilitate productive discussion. So, for the Toastmaster, their purpose tonight is to learn and apply the skills needed to run the a lessons learned meeting during a project with her organization outside of Toastmasters. So for tonight, she is going to be presenting a 5 to 7 minute speech about the lessons learned meeting, which already passed in her experience. So tonight, please let us give our attention to a speech titled "Prepare for Descent and Landing." This is going to be evaluated by distinguished Toastmaster Mariam Soliano, and again, "Prepare for Descent and Landing" to be delivered by this dynamic leadership for Toastmaster Nancy Omolo.
Thank you so much, Joel. I just want to check, can everybody hear me? Yes, all right. So, yes, all right. So I shall start. Falling from the stairs, falling out of love, falling out from a friendship. Fellow Toastmasters and guests, good evening. I think most, if not all of us, are afraid to fall because we don't know what lies down there. It must be terrifying. It is possible that it could be very difficult to overcome and get back on top where it is much more comfortable. It is very risky to fall, and some of us has to really plan and perfect everything we have to do, because what if people will judge us? Perhaps we can't afford to be judged, and we want to be always on top. My career was gradually getting good, and my experience helped me to harness my skills. I've been working right after I graduated because I just can't allow myself to be idle. If you are familiar with Freytag's pyramid, this is a drama structure which has 5 parts: the introduction, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and catastrophe. So the introduction. I started my career in sales. I was just there for 2 months, after which I resigned because the location was not very safe for me. I'm not confident when crossing roads, and it was something I have to deal with every day. The thought of stumbling and falling while crossing the road was too much of an ordeal, but my takeaway from working in sales was the value of effective communication. The rising actions. Next, I ended up in a production company. I have to walk around 20 minutes to reach my office. I had fun visiting different areas and departments while working there. After 6 months, I quit because I did not see a future for my career there. My takeaway, I learned the value of quality of work. After the production company, I ended in an events management. There, I really enjoyed my work because my work involved different kinds of activities and I handled different events. I quit my job because I learned the value of integrity, and honesty is something I demand from a leader. Next to that, I ended working in an electrical service company. I've always wanted to be an executive assistant. After about 2 years in the company, I just lost my sense of purpose to work for them. It gave me the impression that the company doesn't want to improve and they are just settled. I just hate the idea of being stagnant, and that made me value innovation. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the climax. To work in one's dream company is already an achieved aspiration. A company that checks your entire checklist of future employer is like giving you a sense of security. I was able to work in a Fortune 500 company, and I was able to stay with the company for 5 years, the longest in my career so far. The company has offered me plenty of opportunities, and I am proud to say that this company made me value loyalty, and they made me fall for Toastmasters. I'm not gonna lie, this is one of the sweetest fall I have ever experienced. The falling action. Then 2020 came. Almost everything fell: companies, stocks, goals, and more. I was very aware of what was happening, and I was just waiting for the ball to fall. The value of being resilient really prevailed. The catastrophe. January 2021, a company town hall was held, and the dreading news placed the entire Cebu office in a sad and depressing atmosphere. They dropped the ball and announced that the Cebu office will be closed for good. In this part of the story, I just started to really do more in my position. I leveled up, I got a chance to lead a team, and I even got a salary increase. Everything was going up. I did have the option to continue my career, but I have to be in Manila. But Cebu is love and Manila is Manila. There is just a big difference. So I just had to go with the fall. And that, my fellow Toastmasters and guests, is the current storyline of my career. Because as of speaking, I'm currently jobless. And I finally got the chance to read one of my books entitled Falling Forward by John C. Maxwell. I have owned this book since 2018, but I actually did not read it not until I had this career fall. But fret not, because it was a perfect timing, and the book really encouraged me to accept and embrace falling. If I fall, I need to keep the bigger picture in mind, because my goals and my dreams are still far from over. If I fall, I am giving myself permission to excel in other aspects. If I fall, I am given a chance to change and improve myself to be its best version. Friends, falling digresses you a little about life, but please do use it as a motivation to move forward and aspire. Because in my case, I have descended and landed, and I am more than ready to ascend again. Back to you, Toastmaster Joel.
Well, thank you, Toastmaster Nancy. A round of applause, please, to Toastmaster Nancy. So, congratulations. And all I have to say is, wow. Toastmaster Nancy, you had such a rich experience with tons of learning, and you picked up so much from communication to quality to loyalty to just so much in just that amount of time. And it's amazing for me how you've gone through all of that, and now you think you've fallen, but still you're going with it and you're taking it as a chance to improve yourself. So congrats. I'm sorry for the situation, and undoubtedly a lot of us have been affected really. And still, I'm happy for you and congratulations. Now, we have concluded our prepared speeches, and such delights they were. And for those Toastmasters and those who are or those guests who have attended multiple meetings, you now know where we are going to. But before that, I'd like to insert this one last bit, because I did promise that we would be talking about how to make our aspirations real. Still remember your aspirations from the past or what you're working on right now? We've gone over the first point and the second point, and the third point of how to make your aspiration real is to know how or when do you know that you have reached the end. How do you know that you have achieved what you wanted to achieve? How do you know that you're already the person you wanted to be? How do you know you've already got your dream job, dream position, dream anything? For this, like the previous two, I'd like to extend this question to someone who I'd like to hear their insights on. Maybe I can ask someone who we haven't heard from in a long time. Toastmaster Jazzy, welcome back. Or maybe we this is the first time I'm seeing you after a long time. But are you around?
Hi.
There she is. Hello, Toastmaster Jazzy. If you remember your aspiration, or if you can think about what you are doing, what you are aspiring towards right now, how do you know that you have accomplished it?
Hi, everyone. I think at this point of my life, I haven't really gotten that point that I have reached the inspiration, the aspiration that I want. But I think this will be like very theoretical, yeah, in some point. So how do you know you've got it? Yeah. Well, as far as I read all these books, right, like they always make a point like there's no such you won't be happy on the top not until and unless you have make such impact to people. Impact maybe like you have how you have mm, touched their lives, inspire them in a little way. So basically, that's what's the thought of like going into the top. I think it's more on like making each phase remarkable, and when you are up there you're gonna feel fulfilled, because I think when you've got we already got on the top, it's more subjective than it's more on feeling than being saying like, okay, I already reached there. So that's from me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you as well, Toastmaster Jazzy. And it's lovely to hear from you again after a while. It's good to have you back. And yeah, I agree. It's subjective and it varies from person to person. But I think what you said was a good metric. When you are affecting people, when you leave an impact, that's when you know that you've got it. Because in a way, you have polished yourself, your skills, you have maximized what you can do, what you can achieve, and now you are paying it forward or you are affecting outwards. So I think that's great. Thank you again, Toastmaster Jazzy. And for our speakers, how do they know that they have got it? How do they know that they have succeeded with their project? How do they know that they have met their objectives? Well, of course, we Toastmasters know, and this is one of my most favorite portions. That's because they receive evaluation. We are now moving to our evaluation portion, and tonight we are it this portion is going to be led by our general evaluator, who is going to be facilitating all the evaluators, and he is going to be the one who is going to call everyone in order and in file. So everyone, please welcome our general evaluator, advanced communicator bronze, advanced leader bronze, Toastmaster Nico Velasquez.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Joel. And by the way, it's really nice to seeing you host our Toastmaster event for tonight. And just a little bit of information, I have definitely seen this boy grow up to the man he is now. He only used to be present and used to participate every time Toastmaster Mariam, a president before me, would come to our club meetings. But my gosh, look at you now. Please, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, let's give him a virtual round of applause for doing such an amazing job. And yes, on that note, that is not yet my evaluation of him. I will save that for later, Toastmaster Joel. You are not yet off the hook. Now, fellow Toastmasters, the moment we start to aspire is the moment that we realize that we no longer fit our mold yesterday. And it is the moment that we also understand and visualize ourselves to have the intelligence or the knowledge and use them as wings to be able to propel us to higher feats in life. If you notice, I actually use the questions used by Toastmaster DJ. Thank
Yes.
you, Toastmaster DJ. That was such a cheat for me, but how could I digress? How could I digress when you provide me enough stepping stones to build my topic or to build my portion, which is evaluation? Fellow Toastmasters, guests, and our beloved friends who are also coming from other clubs, evaluation is when we get to know that we are in our right path while we journey and aspire through life. Do not take it as a segment, but take it as a helpful reminder as we go through and traverse through this life. We go through together. Together because of the fact that it's not only you in this life making the huge waves, but helping you out are our evaluators. So if you're ready, I would like to take my evaluation according to how our program progressed all throughout this evening. And to start, I would like to begin chronologically with the time that we opened our link. And thank God that this time we opened our link on the right time, which is at 6:30. I would have to admit that I was even late a minute. But regardless, I'm excited and happy to notice that even before I logged in at 6:31, Nico was already there with Toastmaster Jing, despite of the fact that Toastmaster Jing was in the middle of her Zumba class. Ladies and gentlemen, that is dedication right there. So thank you so much, Toastmaster Nico and Toastmaster Jing, for being right there at the very instant we opened. And I think also Toastmaster Jezzy was even there also. The four of us were already there. Now, point of improvement. Although we started at 6:30 opening the link, I would still have to call your attention because we did open up officially the meeting at around 7:10. I'm not a mathematical genius, but I think that's 40 minutes after we've opened the link. And that should not be the case, my dear ladies and gentlemen and fellow Toastmasters. As a promise to our integrity, which Toastmaster Nancy was talking about, we also have to hold true to our promise, which is to really start on time. Now, if we were to start any or to cause any delay within the course of the program, at least 10 minutes would be acceptable. Similar to attending events, at least 10 to 15 minutes is quite okay. But beyond that, you would have to make sure that we learn our lesson. Moving on to the next part of the program, the declaration. I would like to declare that Toastmaster Gary really did his job in standing up, which was the topic of last time's meeting, to try to stand up and to also, practice that royal sense of making sure that your presence is felt. Also, please take into consideration that when we stand, this is not just for Toastmaster Gary, try not to look a little bit domineering by looking down at the person. So if you can, be more considerate. Always make sure to have the camera at eye level. If that is doable, then great. But if not, make sure that since we're using cameras here and everything is digital, it's still eye level to identify that we are at the same level here. Next one is call to order. I'm always quite excited how Toastmaster Miko is able to rally everybody with such excitement. It is a gift to you, Toastmaster Miko. I do not call it pagiging hambugero or what similar to what your speech was about, kanina. Definitely not. But it is certainly a quality of being a people person, a quality that you turn into a skill that I'm sure on a personal level has helped you thrive to become the person that you are. I've noticed, Toastmaster Nico, that similar to usual president's roles, that yes, you do occupy a lot of roles. And by the way, I did occupy a lot of roles too way back when I was president of this very same club. But here's a tip that I would like to give you. If you know that you're gonna go through succeeding roles, I would rather that you do not give it back to Joel, the attention back to Joel. Because I'm going to tell you now that it's going to make it look a little more awkward, making others feel or think that we are running out of people who volunteered in the meeting. Please indulge me as I tackle these matters on a technical level, something that I learned from Toastmaster Rants. So thank you, Toastmaster Rants. Make sure that if ever you are to succeed, if there is succession in roles, carry it out through and through so that your momentum builds up to the next role and not get it cut by our Toastmaster of the evening, who will then have to find a way to divert it back to you. So let's do that next time. Next role taker, our prayer leader, Toastmaster Jesse. And somebody has noted, Toastmaster Joel, that it's great for you to be back. Thank you so much for being back. You want people to always keep on coming back, which is most important. Toastmaster Jesse, thank you so much for giving us a heartfelt personal prayer. Now, for your point of improvement, always consider acts. ACTS. I'm not quite sure if this is something that we still talk about nowadays in our evaluations, but it's nice to go back and to identify these wise inputs coming. I got it from the people who served before me. And acts is adoration, to always implore our great creator. C is to confess and to confide our sins and to ask for mercy. T, to always ask for thanksgiving or to declare thanksgiving for the things that we have received. And then S for supplication. Because as much as we are thankful, of course, as humans as we are, we'd always want to ask our dear creator for something much bigger, for protection, for love, for blessings. So do not forget to act on it next time you are given the privilege to lead us to the prayer. But of course, as much as always, a prayer is always heartfelt, and you have done that and you have succeeded. And also remember, Toastmaster Jesse, that when we are given the prayer role, it's always juxtaposed to the invocations. And also make sure to remember that after every part, we always have to make sure that we call back our Toastmaster of the evening so as to avoid that awkward lull between speaking points. Sabi pa nga, let me use Tagalog, sabi pa nga ni Toastmaster Chappie, we are never to orphan the stage. And the little lulls that we make, this goes out to everybody, is somewhat finding our point of focus orphaned for the time being. So let's try to avoid that one. Moving on to our introduction of the Toastmaster of the evening, Toastmaster Joy. Toastmaster Joy, I have no doubt that indeed you know Toastmaster Joel so well because of the fact that I have seen him the same way that you have seen him grown up to the man that he is. With your diligence in introducing him, I found something which could be a point, which should be a point of improvement, which is the use of softeners, which is not to use them exactly. Now, what are softeners? What are softeners that I'm talking about? When we use the words I think, I guess, I believe, gives us a point of uncertainty, which I know for a fact that you do not have because you are a witness to our Toastmasters of the Evening's growth. So let's try to make sure that we avoid using these softeners so that we sound more certain and deliberate in our delivery of our introduction for the host of the evening. But nevertheless, thank you so much for allowing us a few seconds to get to know and to excite us who this exact person really is. Because honestly, I did not know up until you revealed. So congratulations on that one. Moving on to the next part of our program, which is the educational portion, heart soul connections. This is, by the way, new to me. This is the only second time. This is the second time I'm participating to it. And it's very effective. It's something that we've lost because of the pandemic, but I salute the club, the Royals, for finding a way to put it back in, to find these magical moments back in, which really allows us to foster fellowship, which I believe is what this club is really all about. For us to know that we belong in a club who share in the same sea of knowledge and who shares in the same sea of respect and value to learn even more. So good job on that one. A note for Toastmaster Miko is to make sure that to provide a wrap up. So do not leave it hanging. Always find a way to wrap it up, to wrap up the session, the moment that everybody's already back in the coming back from the breakout rooms so that the flow still continues before you pass it back on to our Toastmaster of the night. Next one is our word of the night, still Toastmaster Miko. Congratulations. I have no further comments on that one. Just make sure to identify if the word is a noun, a verb, or an adjective, which I feel like I missed out earlier, so I had to look for the word myself to make sure that I did not see it talaga. So there. So something that I would really wanted to see other than the definition and the usage. Next one, pocket learning sessions. Toastmaster Desiree Bolota. How long have we known each other? We've known each other since 2013, and my gosh, you never fail to blow my mind, similar to what my comment of you was earlier. You were very faithful to your speech, objective. And by the way, for the sake of everybody's knowledge, this speech does not merit an evaluation, but this, by the way, is the personal request of our speaker, who is Toastmaster Des. If I were to evaluate your speech, I'd like to commend you for being the representation of your speech, which is to really identify focus and to be able to lead our listeners to what we would want everybody to understand and take away at the end of your speech. You were very faithful to that, and indeed, you were a beacon to your very own light. Now, points of improvement, I would have to say, always make sure, similar to Toastmaster Gary, that when we stand, it would be beneficial for you to lift up your camera so that your stance wouldn't be so domineering and it would be more friendly. That would allow a sight of a more conversational visual so as to welcome the thoughts of others and as well as to engage others as well. Other than that one, I'd also like to add in to adjust our pace. I know that you asked how many minutes we had more. 2 minutes, Toastmaster Gary said. But for the sake of educating our people, which was a topic last week rather, you served a great purpose. So please do make sure to identify your timing properly and to make sure that you pace it so that we wouldn't have to feel like we are chasing the points with you too. But other than that, I'd like to thank you for stepping out of your comfort zone again, and as well as going the extra mile of teaching us something new all the time, every time you open your mouth. So thank you very much, Toastmaster Des. Next one. We proceed to the parts of the program with their individual evaluators. And for us to be able to do that, I have got lieutenants with me, equally talented, if not more talented than me, to be able to deliver their evaluations. And for us to evaluate our table topics portion or the Doko Doko portion of the meeting, I would like to call in to do us the honor of evaluating that portion, Toastmaster Joan Maurice Rosas. Toastmaster Joan, how are you, Toastmaster Joan?
I am good. Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nico. I miss you.
I miss you too.
Okay. So, good evening, everyone. Since the theme for tonight is about aspiration, I am very excited to hear our speakers in table topics. I believe aspiration is very personal. It is something that you just talk or disclose to your closest family or friends. And I knew and I've heard that all of our speakers did exactly that. Our first speaker, Toastmaster Rance, talked about being authentic. Aspire not to have more, but to have more, but to be more. Being a champion table topic speaker, Toastmaster Rance, you are very organized in your speech using the SMG format. Your speech was undoubtedly professionally delivered. I like the projection of your voice. Very powerful, just like the message you want to deliver. And that message is being more means being more to others by empowering them. Very beautiful for me. Toastmaster Rance, I can think of any suggestion on how to improve your speech further, but I do miss the drama that you did in your previous speeches, the emotions that I can get from your facial expression and voice. But I think I just miss you so much. But yes, I would say that that is super great delivery, Toastmaster Rance. And yes, see you more here in our meetings. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's give Toastmaster Rance a round of applause. Okay.
Thank
Our,
you.
our second speaker, Toastmaster Zyril, talk about expanding our reach. So stop shrinking to fit to places you've outgrown. Toastmaster Zyril, for me, you are very easy to listen to. You have also organized your speech using the SMG format. I like the way you narrated your wanting before to fit in, but then you realize that, hey, I should not limit myself. Then you narrated how you explored and expanded your space. I like the before and after contrast too in your speech. For the delivery Toastmaster Cyril, I just missed seeing you. I'm not sure if it's my internet or your camera is not really on, but it would be really better if the video or your video were on. For me, that way the delivery would be more personal. So nevertheless, I love your speech, Toastmaster Zairi, and see you here too. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster Zairi. And then our third speaker, Toastmaster Lisa, talk about our Northern Star. Intelligence without aspiration is a bird without wings. Toastmaster Lisa, thank you very much for sharing your reflection on the topic. You have organized your speech using prep. You are a good storyteller. Thank you for telling us your story, and because it is something indeed that we can learn from. I love your main message, and that is if you have a northern star, you will not go astray. And that northern star is your aspiration. Just like Toastmaster Zyril, I also miss seeing you. So it would really be better if your video were on. For me, the delivery would be more personal. But of course, if you can't be on video because of some bandwidth issues, you may also experiment on using your voice to be more expressive. So Toastmaster Lisa, I love hearing your stories. I believe that you are a great storyteller, and I encourage you to participate more in Tibo's topics so that you can also reach your aspiration to be a great speaker. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster Lisa. Now, I will evaluate the table topics master, Toastmaster DJ. So Toastmaster DJ, I am really amazed how you turned the table topics portion into a motivational platform. From the music, images, quotes, and I like how you shared some tips on how do we find our aspiration. I'm all hands down. I don't have anything to add. So Toastmaster DJ, just continue what you are doing, and thank you for the wonderful table topics portion. So ladies and gentlemen, let's give Toastmaster DJ a round of applause. Thank you very much. Then back to you, Toastmaster Nico.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Joan. And yes, similar to how much you miss everybody, I'd have to borrow your words because I do miss you too, as much as you miss everybody. And it's always great to see you. Thank you. Now, Toastmaster Joan, for your evaluation, I would just like to advise that for us to make sure that we tone down on superlatives next time. So the using of super great or great storyteller, although they have been given they have been given in great intention, we always have to make sure that there's always room for growth. So as therefore, the use of superlatives should not be our go-to lines, so that we also get to identify that indeed on a verbal description there is still point for improvement, and as well as not to negate our evaluation or recommendations of the people that we evaluated. But may I just say that you've always delivered your speeches and your evaluations in a very inspirational and very motivating way, which is really something that I always look forward to every time I listen to you. So big check on that one. Thank you very much. If I may also comment on the table topics of the the delivery of our table topics portion, I just like the fact that Toastmaster Darwin pre-selected our engagers for today. It saved us time, but the way that he was able to do it, he introduced the speaker at the end, which still gave us a little bit of a fright because it allowed us to think on our toes still. So that was good. And then second was also the use of music. To me, on the technicality side, the music gave me an opportunity to tell myself that, wait, I had time to think. It honestly calmed me down. I'm sure similarly that the music calmed down our brave speakers during the table topics portion. So if I were to recommend the future table topics leaders or table topic masters, why not use music as well to calm everybody down? So again, congratulations Toastmaster Joan, Toastmaster Darwin, and our three brave souls for tonight. That's Toastmaster Rans, Zyril, and Lisa. Congratulations. Now, my dear fellow Toastmasters and especially guests, after our spontaneous part of the speeches tonight, we move on to the prepared speeches. And for us to hear our evaluation of these speakers, we have got the following evaluators. To begin with her evaluation for Toastmaster To begin with her evaluation of Toastmaster Miko, I would like to call in Toastmaster Michama Kapangpangan Espina or Toastmaster Chai. That will also, by the way, be evaluated by Toastmaster John Fitzgerald. Toastmaster Chai,
Good evening to each and everyone.
good evening.
Okay, so from an English-speaking elementary pupil enrolled in a public school to being an aspiring leader that he is today. Toastmaster of the night, Toastmaster Joel, fellow Toastmaster, and to our distinguished guests, and most especially to TM Miko, thank you for delivering such a great speech. TM Miko delivered a speech project L1P1, the icebreaker, and this is the third time. One of the objectives is to discover speaking skills that you already have and the skills that need some attention. TM Miko, you clearly met the objectives. Great job on that one. I really enjoyed your speech entitled Never Enough. I thought it was from that stage play actually. I enjoyed the way you told the story and you never digress from the topic. Your thoughts and the transition of your speech are all in coherent order. Your pauses, your genuine laughter, and your tone are all excellent. Plus, this is a plus, you stood up while presenting. You brought us, especially me, to what it feels like when presenting in an actual face-to-face Toastmaster meeting. TM Miko, for you to make your presentation even greater, since we are in a virtual meeting, I would like to see you position yourself with proper balance, the left as well as on the right, and most especially on the top. And that's it. TM Miko, continue your interesting personal stories to keep us captivated as what you did today. Overall, you did an amazing job. And I am really looking forward to hearing your next one. Good evening to each and everyone. Back to you, General Evaluator TM Miko.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Chai. That was a great job for you to do. Thank you very much. Of course, it's not my job to evaluate you, but you would have to call in Toastmaster John to identify how well Toastmaster Chai did in her first time ever evaluation. So Toastmaster John, please take it away.
Hello, good evening, everyone. I'm sorry, may I request just a few more time to polish my notes? I think there will still be another evaluator for the second prepared speech. May I
Sure,
just request?
Toastmaster John.
Yes.
Let me come
Thank you
back
so
to you
much.
after the next one. Now, to follow Toastmaster Chai's evaluation, I would like to call in Toastmaster Mariam Soliano, past President Mariam Soliano, to evaluate the speech of Toastmaster Nancy Omolon. Toastmaster Mariam.
Oh, thank you, Toastmaster Nico. And the same with Joan earlier. I really miss you as well. Good to hear from you. All right, so here I could see Toastmaster Nancy. Thank you for turning on your camera. I think Toastmaster Nancy, I speak in behalf of everyone in the meeting right now when I say I enjoyed listening to your speech. So I think all of you saw the chat that earlier, right after your speech. Now, Toastmaster Nancy, I always enjoy hearing you deliver speech. Your strength has always been the content and the wit that you include in your speeches. First of all, you're the topic. You have the storyline of your career. Definitely, this is really speaking. Anyway, thank you so much. Now, going back, Toastmaster Nancy, what I love is how relatable it is, and it's very important while we are writing a speech, we make sure that we relate it to our audience. So career is something that we could all agree and relate with. And second, it's very timely because it's your recent experience. So that's a good job for you. Now, structure. This is another thing that I love. You started with connecting to your audience, and that is effective, especially in this digital setup that we have. You also have an organized body in your speech when you follow that storyline. And you also have a beautiful ending. As you put it when it becomes part of your speech. And that for me is commendable. And I encourage the other speeches, if you can, I say why not to include the title and be witty about it. Now, you may want work. As a listener, I love looking for connections for the style, technique, and wordplay. Now, the joy will be taken away if it's given to us. So when you mentioned about introduction, rising action, I was stopping myself. When you say it, I mean, I love the transition when you mentioned, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the climax. Ooh, that's lovely. Okay, so keep that transition. Now we also, I think it relates to everyone when I say we love beautifully stitched story. You're talking about storyline of your career. So make it like a story. Now, I also missed some gestures when it should have been an opportunity to elevate the speech, especially in giving emphasis. So I encourage you to maximize it whenever you deliver a speech, the rising and the falling, even if you're seated, like what I'm doing right now, I just push myself a little bit backward because like what Toastmaster Nico mentioned, you have to be eye to eye with the people that you're talking to. So I cannot stand, but I just have to move myself backward a little bit so I could move my hands. So that can be done. But I think Toastmaster Nancy, I won the lottery when I was able to listen to your speech. That's how beautiful it is. So I invite the community to give a heart reaction to Toastmaster Nancy for you, Toastmaster Nancy, and back to our general evaluator, Nico.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mariam. And indeed, we've all won the lottery. Thank you so much, Toastmaster Nancy. Again, I'm going to repeat it again and again and again that your lines were so humbling, so human, and so rich. That's why we really do adore people who would leave us a piece, if not a whole chunk of their heart every time they deliver their speeches. So congratulations to the both of you, Toastmaster Nancy and Toastmaster Mariam. Toastmaster Mariam, please don't take it against you that Toastmaster Miko would always stop recording. I'm kidding. I'm sure it's unintentional, but let's always try to remind ourselves that if in case these things happen, similar to a face-to-face meeting, let's try not to get distracted and go on and proceed with the speech that we're supposed to deliver because that's what we're supposed and born to do. But thank you anyway. Thank you very much. Now, I'd like to ask if this is the perfect time for me to call in Toastmaster Joel to evaluate Toastmaster Chai. Not Toastmaster Joel, but Toastmaster John, rather.
Yes, it's okay.
Perfect. Please go ahead, Toastmaster John.
All right. Thank you very much, General Evaluator Nico. And good evening, Toastmaster Chai. It's another wonderful opportunity for me tonight to be able to share with you, another milestone that you have as a budding Toastmaster, to be able to evaluate you in your very first evaluation speech. I really like how you started it off with a bit of recap, sharing to us, your perspective summary of what the speech was about, from being enrolled to public school to the journey of leadership of Toastmaster Miko. It was a very formal way to start and a great way also to mirror how the speaker presented his speech. So you got to connect with the speaker himself right away. Second, I love the delivery. You were very composed. The pace was consistent. You had a very consistent, loud voice and at the volume rather. And yes, it was very formal and even elegant, even and pleasing and clear to listen to. So the words were just crystal clear. Thank you so much for that. Now, as for your recommendations, Toastmaster Chai, for you to be greater as well and hopefully to aspire better to make your future evaluations fly higher, I would love to recommend two things. First is to give examples as well. I noticed that you said strengths like the transitions were in coherent order, there was genuine laughter, and the tone was excellent. So you might want to maybe repeat some examples that were from the speech. Like what were the transitions used? Was it time element or was it a certain phrase that was uniform? So that for Toastmaster Miko, he will, or the speaker at concerned, he will be able to reinforce that in future speeches at hand. Same also with the tone. You might want to describe it. Was it consistently high or did it have some variety? You may also want to describe it deeper to give more examples at that to make it more clear. Second is in terms of balance, in terms of the amount of points to be given. I noticed that there were about 3 or 4 strengths and then just one recommendation. It's definitely okay. And maybe for future, for future
I think Toastmaster John is
maybe
experiencing. Go ahead, Toastmaster John. We can hear you now.
All right. Where did I stop? Sorry.
Where you stopped somewhere here, John.
All right. Sige. Let me just go back to my second. All right. Thank you so much. Yes. So I'll just turn off my cam, ha. All right. So with regards to the balance, I noticed that there were about 3 or 4 strengths and then just one recommendation. It's definitely understandable for a first-time evaluator. If I may recommend, you can add some more by also looking at the content of the speech. Maybe perhaps you may want to check if the message was clear in the speech, because your recommendation was about the delivery on positioning of Toastmaster Miko on the screen. So you can also focus on content. Was the message clear? Did you think he have an effective opening, for example, and things like that? Because that's also tackling on organization. So there you can also provide a variety in terms of what you will analyze in the speech itself. But nonetheless, I really appreciate, for so far for this evaluation, you're objective and orderly. I definitely felt that your points were concrete, and of course, you followed the kiss, kick, kiss method to have a positive point of recommendation and of course a final positive note. So to me, there were no signs of digression as to what an evaluation is intended to be, something that is motivating and meaningful for the speaker concerned. And I definitely felt that you have achieved that greatly tonight. So to you, Toastmaster Chai, congratulations on your debut evaluation and continue to aspire to take more of these roles. Back to our general evaluator.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster John. Now I could imagine your shock when I called you right after the speech or the evaluation speech of Toastmaster Chai. Yes, I've forgotten to give you that 5 crucial moments to be able to craft your speech. But my gosh, though I know that the evaluation of Toastmaster Miriam was less than 4 minutes or less than 3 minutes at that, you still did a great job. So thank you very, very much. And may I just say for Toastmaster Chai, I think you guys would all agree with me that she sounded like she was in a speech competition. She had the stance, she had the vocal prowess, the vocal variety, and that feel and that look that is of a royal winner. So congratulations on pulling off and really doing amazingly well on your first evaluatory speech. So congratulations. Now, moving on forward, we also have what we call our tag team tonight, and that is, of course, by our timer, a counter, and our grammarian. To deliver our timers report, I would like to call in Toastmaster Gary to let us know how well we did in time management. Toastmaster Gary?
Thank you for that, Toastmaster Nico. So, for the benefit of non-Toastmaster friends, as a timer, my role is to remind all speakers how much time they spent on their speech, so that we will run this meeting on time. So I will raise the green color when the speech is long enough according to your subject requirement. For example, 1 minute and 30 seconds for table topics and 6 minutes for prepared speeches. Yellow color will be flashed on the screen when speakers should be aware of their time is running up, and red color when the allowed time is finished. For table topics, you should not speak more than 2 minutes. For prepared speeches, you should not speak more than 7 minutes. For all facilitators, the length of your speech is already indicated in the agenda. So at the end of the meeting, I will be back on the stage to present my report. So now I have the report of the time each speaker consumed. So let me start with the word of the night. The whole program in the word of the night, we were 2 minutes and 30 seconds over time. And on the pocket learning session, we were just 16 seconds over time. And in the table topics portion, the first speaker, Toastmaster Runs, was on time. The second speaker, Toastmaster Zyril, was also on time. The third speaker, Toastmaster Lisa, was over time for just 1 minute and 24 seconds. But overall, the table topics portion was on time. And also, and next to the prepared speeches, Toastmaster Miko was on time. Toastmaster Nancy was also on time. In the evaluation portion, table topics evaluator, Toastmaster Joan, was on time. Toastmaster Chai was also on time. And Toastmaster Mariam was on time. And lastly, Toastmaster Fitzgerald was also on time. So overall, most of the speakers was on time. But looking at the time right now, since we are already 9:35, and I believe we are allotted 1 hour to 2 hours for this meeting. So since we started at 7:10, we are already over time. So that would be all, and back to you, Toastmaster. The evening.
Thank you so much. We've heard it from the timer himself. We are over time, so let us learn how to manage our time properly moving on forward. But nevertheless, thank you so much, Toastmaster Gary. By the way, let me just comment that there's something happening with your screen. You're flipping in and
Yeah,
out.
sorry. Yeah, because I was using a sticker to use the virtual background green, yellow, and red, and I didn't notice that it was
I
still
see, I
attached.
see. Thank you. You might just want to take note of that one next time, or else I might start praying for you. All right. So next one, let's hear our counters report from no less than Toastmaster Epraline Salo. Toastmaster Epraline.
Toastmaster Miko, let me share my screen. All right. So I hope you can now see my screen. Okay. But before that, oh my God.
Yeah.
Can you still hear me? Because I think.
Please
all right,
go ahead.
sorry.
But the screen is not showing though.
All right, so sorry for that. Before that, for the benefit of our guests for tonight, my role as a counter is to note words and sounds that are used as a crutch or pause filler by anyone who speaks tonight. And during the meeting, I also listen for all the overused words, including and, well, but, so, and you know. And I also listen for filler words, including and And I also note when a speaker repeats a word or phrase, such as I or this, this means. So I am noting all of those. And for tonight, I'm so delighted because everyone seems so smooth for tonight. So here is the report of for tonight's counter. I'd like to congratulate all the speakers for tonight because um, all the all the speakers are really spontaneous. As you can see on my report, um, it's almost none. So congratulations to everyone. And I think this is a good improvement for all of us, for everyone. And let's keep this up until next meeting. So congratulations. Back to you, Toastmaster Miko. That's all for my counter report.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Epraline, and for taking the job really well, taking it to heart. I'd like you guys to consider the suggestion of Toastmaster Chappie, the one that she gave the last time that we had a meeting. Maybe perhaps you'd like to put in a little more sanction to people who'd give out crutches so as to make sure that we solidify our efforts of minimizing rather, our use of apparatives, as how other Toastmasters would say it. Now, moving forward to our next lieutenant, we've got our grammarian, and this will be delivered by Toastmaster Miriam Soliano. Toastmaster Miriam.
All right, thank you, Toastmaster Nico. Now let me share my screen for everyone, and just let me know if you could see it already.
We can see it. Please go ahead.
Oh, thank you. So my role as a grammarian is to listen well and to be critical in our use of the English language. I'm not that proficient in the English language, but I really try my best for this time. In our speaker, that most respect proper grammar. Like to share, I'm going to turn off my video. It better. Now I'm going to the things that we need, especially the use of language. First of all, I like everyone to remember that we have to keep it how we it's understand. Someone said for all, say it for all who are sick. So that's one. Okay. Mention the using brand versus noun. I know it could be the use of the verb is for it. So instead of using the gerund, we could use the noun. Again, it's keeping it simple. Next, we have to stay away from informal or slang words. So just a review on that. I heard someone says the word gonna when we could use the word going to. Gonna is a slang informal language. So that's something that we could take note of. Another thing is a reminder whenever we use the present perfect tense. By the way, I admire people who use this kind of tense, but just remember when you have this, we always use the past participle. We have got, it should have been we have gotten if you want to use that one, or you could keep it simple. We got. Well, we use, because we always use present perfect if we're referring to something that happened in the past, but we're still continuing it. So take note of that. Another thing is personal pronoun usage. Okay, so you have the subjective and we have the objective. Subjective is the one that's taking the action. Objective is the receiver, so it's the object. Me trying to be a leader, it better be used I trying to be a leader. So you're using the subjective personal pronoun. So just a review on that. Now, Words to use instead of so, very, and really. I'm going to share, if I may. Oh, Joel, I have to share it to everyone. There's an infographic of use very and so. You could use these words instead of, I'm just repeating myself, but it's, yeah, instead of saying those so, really, very, because I've heard that a lot of times. So I too am trying to get rid of those words, these three words, but I invite everyone. All right. So another thing is the pronunciation. It took me a while to really appreciate pronunciation, especially in the dictionary. So there are some things that we have to take a look at, like for example, the audience, the sound of audience, that's different. It has to be the o sound, audience, the short e sound, filler. And sometimes there are some words that we don't have to include the vowel, like hotelier. It took me a while to really find that out, but it pays us to take a look at the pronunciation and study them so that when we use it in our spoken language, we are confident about it. But then again, it's a process for all of us. But there are things that we have to remain. These are the beautiful words that we have used, commendable things that we use in the English language. It's a beautiful way to describe someone and use this, the eyes resonate interest in development. It's quite visual and I love it. And I encourage everyone to do that. Everyone has had aspirations in their lives. I gave this as an example because this is a perfect example of the present perfect tense. It began in the past, but still continuing into the present. So, oh, of course, we all love quotes. So the best way to make your dreams come true is to wake up beautiful. And I love it when people use quotes. And I think idiomatic expression has been, I've heard it many times throughout the whole session. So off the cuff, in a box, on my plate, hands down. I say keep it up. Keep using those idiomatic expressions. Ooh, another beautiful one from a speech. I have descended and landed and now I'm ready to ascend again. Beautiful, isn't it? The moment we, ooh, Toastmaster, Nico. Okay. The moment we aspire is the moment we realize we won't fit to the mold yesterday. I hope you aspire to be better speakers, especially in the English, as we use the English language. It's not our first language, but it's a respect to the language that we are using right now. So whatever kind of delivery that we have right now, okay, this is the old mold. Next time we're gonna meet, we're going to apply what we have learned. Thank you, Toastmaster Nico.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Mariam, and quite an extensive report you have there. Thank you very much for indulging us with everything that you've found out and took note of all throughout the run of this meeting. Hopefully, we'd all be able, not just hopefully, but we really would want to put in serious thought in making sure that we use all those advices that you had for us today. Similarly, with the rest of all the other evaluators, and evaluations today, this evening. Fellow Toastmaster, we've heard all our evaluators, but of course, also allow me the opportunity to evaluate the run of the total impact of our program. May I just, there's just one thing that I would like to comment on, if not commend on rather, is Toastmaster DJ and Toastmaster Des and everybody else who really does their job, a very good job in cracking up a joke in between speakers. It really does help empower everybody to just loosen up. Ladies and gentlemen, when we aspire, it doesn't have to be stressful. Yes, it will be hard, but it does not mean that you cannot afford to laugh. Okay? Remember that in Toastmasters, similar to what Toastmaster Nico had said earlier, that it is only through the times or moments that we have fun that we really truly learn and become better of ourselves. So please do take note of that one. Bawal po ang seryoso dito masyado. Seryosohin ang trabaho pero please, wag siguro mag-e-ekis ang ating mga brows. Alright? Okay. Now, before I stop yapping, it's a talent of mine. I would like to extend my grateful appreciation to our Toastmaster of the evening. And yes, I would just like to keep on emphasizing that this guy has truly and successfully triumphed on making us all feel old because of the fact that we have watched him grow up from a member, I think, of a Gavel club, if I'm not mistaken, and then coming into now a full-fledged member of Toastmasters, and that is the Royals, Queen City Toastmasters Club. This is the reason why we want to keep on inviting our family to be part of our meetings. It has been a tradition that we have noticed from our forefathers. By when I say forefathers, I said I identify Attorney Aven and his batch from Toastmaster Chappie, and now we are seeing Toastmaster Mariam and now his brother. And yes, may I just also comment that I'm also seeing Toastmaster Michael, my brother, who I have successfully have made part of the cult. I mean the culture rather of Toastmasters International. So please do encourage our family to please keep to attend for them to know our appreciation for this club. May I just also identify what made you truly amazing tonight, Toastmaster Joel? One is the fact that you opened up more opportunities for non-speaking guests to speak through the questions that you raised all throughout this meeting. These questions, what do you want to do? How do you get it? How do you know you've gotten it? Are great opportunities. Again, we come here to these meetings wanting to really sharpen our sauce and to sharpen our skill, giving us equal opportunity, everybody getting equal opportunity. We may not be getting it because of the table topics, we may not get it because of the prepared speeches, but you gave that opportunity to the rest of our speakers. So good job on that one. I want you to make sure next time, or maybe perhaps you're not yet done, to make sure that you identify to give acknowledgements for the guests before the evaluations portion, which you promised us. But considering that your moment is still not yet done, or maybe perhaps it's the job of the president, please let us not forget to acknowledge our guests and give them the time to be able to echo out where they're coming from and then what they feel from what they've seen already. But nevertheless, I still commend you for joining Miko at the very start of the meeting in greeting our guests with much excitement and vigor as well. Overall, Toastmaster Joel, what else can I say? But I would really want to challenge you to even step up, join a competition if you have not yet joined a competition, and the master that you are, the amazing person that you are, win a national competition, because that is our dream for our club. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Toastmasters, guests and friends, let's give Toastmaster Joel, this amazing child in my vision, an amazing round of applause. Yes, you are not a child anymore, you're a big man. So congratulations. Now, with all that has been said from my end, I would like to turn back the proceedings to Toastmaster Joel. Toastmaster Joel, please take it away. Toastmaster Joel, you are on mute.
There is really someone in the room. I made sure to unmute. But thank you deeply, Toastmaster Nico, and of course, I would like to extend my gratitude to everyone, to all the Toastmasters also who have also been there for my day one since it couldn't have been, well, I couldn't have been a full-fledged Toastmaster, as you say, without everyone's feedback and encouragement and support. So thank you. And I'm glad you enjoyed the meeting. And so now we are going to wrap up with some final words from me as Toastmaster of the evening. So just to kind of bring everything together and to summarize and to wrap it up and make sure you have something to bring home, I'd like to bring back the 3 points that I brought up about making your aspirations real. So the number one is what, and then you have the how and the when. What is it that you want to be, to have, to become? How do you get it? And when or how do you know that you have succeeded or you have gotten it? And then this was very much inspired by Cecil Alec Mesa's Smarter Goals. And fun fact, this was in one of the on-demand sessions in the Discon just a few months back. This was given to us by Damian Musk. And from George Duran's Smart Goals, which you may be familiar with, Cecil added 2 more points, which were evaluative and, sorry, I can't see that.
Rewarding.
Rewarding. Thank you very much. So I just forgot. So that's, thank you, Sir DJ. Evaluative and rewarding. And again, in Toastmasters, we also believe that we learn the best when we enjoy. So when you also want to expand your plate, when you want to be more, be better, remember to enjoy and reward yourself. That's going to be it from me. Thank you again, everyone. Thank you to all our speakers, role takers, and evaluators. Hope we enjoyed all the meetings. So now I'm going to sign off officially as the Toastmaster of the evening, and I am now going to give you to President Miko for our business portion.
All right. Thank you, Toastmaster Joel. So it is nearing a long meeting. We are going to breeze through our business portion. So I am going to ask everyone to turn on their video so that we're going to take a photo up. But while we wait for people to do that, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our visiting Toastmasters and our guests for really taking the time to make it all the way here and spend this time with us. So very special thanks to Toastmaster Jeeves and Toastmaster Michael. And I'd also like to take this opportunity to ask for some feedback from Zoe, our guest, after we take our photo op for tonight. All right. So, Miss Shai and Michael, if we can see you. I think Miss Joy may still be in a different meeting as well. All right. So on my mark, one, excuse me, I got muted. 1, 2, 3, smile. All right, you can relax. All right, one more, just a wacky shot. 1, 2, 3, wacky. All right, so everyone can relax. Thank you everyone for really making it this far. And now we have proof that you've actually stayed all the way. So I'd like to take this opportunity to ask a little bit of feedback from our guest, Zoe. How did you feel about the meeting? And will we see you next meeting on the 26th?
If you would have me, I would love it. This is actually the second club that I've been a guest. Kasi I also was able to guest with guest in Jeeves Club Butter and Toast. And so I'm getting familiar with how things are going throughout each meeting. And I would say that yours is very packed. I've learned so much. It's very evaluative. It's very, I think I've heard from everyone and learned from everyone as well. So I really want to thank all of you for having me, and I feel so very welcome here. Thank you.
All right, let's give Zoe a round of applause. All right, so thank you, Zoe. And a very special thank you to Toastmaster Jeeves and Toastmaster Michael. Let's give our visiting Toastmasters a round of applause as well.
Let them talk.
We're not ending yet, Toastmaster Rans. But let's go ahead. Okay, let's give Governor Rans some time. So
No,
let's give
Governor.
let's give a round of applause to one of our past presidents and very influential whenever he speaks. Toastmaster,
Who?
the Toastmaster Rans Medina.
No. I don't like to speak. What I'm saying here is that let's give the floor to Sir James and to our guests, visiting Toastmasters as well.
Okay, sorry about that. All right. So I think Michael. Sorry, I'm saying my own name. Let's have Toastmaster Jeeves first, and then we can also have Michael after.
Wait up. Hi. Wait. Hi, guys. They say imitation's the sincerest form of flattery. I learned a lot from your meeting that I'm going to be pirating for butter and toast. The thing that I really like is that you gave the sergeant at arms, you gave due respect to the sergeant at arms. Usually, the sergeant at arms is just there, but I like the fact that he has something to do. And then there's so many other things, and you know the art of toast mastering is really getting the best practices from one club and then try and going to use it and using it to your club and then hoping that somebody else gets that and we get better clubs in the process. Rans, you're there?
Yes, my friend.
Teka lang. May gusto mag-hi hello sa'yo. Jocks. Wait. Yan.
Hi, Jocks.
Yeah, so that's my wife. I don't know if you remember her from
Yes, of course.
from the Cebu District Convention, God knows how long ago, but yeah. Oh yeah. And guys, I really hope the Cebu District Convention pushes through next year because we're looking forward to gaining a lot of weight in Cebu.
Let's do it.
Miss you, Jebs.
Yeah, miss you too.
All right, let's give a round of applause to Toastmaster Jeeves. Thank you for visiting us tonight. And I guess this example of Toastmaster Jeeves and Toastmaster Rans, it's really good to be in Toastmasters and it's good to be back in Toastmasters as well. All right, wonderful.
Oh
So,
yeah. What can I say one more thing? Butter
sure.
and Toast, second and fourth Thursday, 7:30 p.m. If any of you want to hang out with us, you are more than welcome.
This second and
Second and fourth Thursday. Rans, we're Facebook friends. You can just
Thursday.
bug me there.
Let us know, Toastmaster Jeeves.
All right, thank you, Toastmaster Jeeves. And for Toastmaster Michael, the brother.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. First of all, thanks for having me around. It's such an honor and a privilege to be with the Queen City Toastmasters. On special note, I'd like to share with everybody I like the breakout room style a while ago. Me and Toastmaster Joel really got that one-on-one, and it was really a meaningful exchange of wisdom. Toastmaster Joe, you still there?
Yes, I am. Hello. I agree.
Great. Okay, and I also learned a lot from tonight's session, and I really look forward to the next session. And about the invitation, perhaps you weren't able to see if I actually checked. Well, I did check, but a few minutes before the session started. I haven't been looking into my socials today because every weekend is my mental health awareness weekend. So I avoid looking at the socials, but hey, I was still able to see the invitation and here I am. So thank you so much for the invitation and looking forward to the next meeting. Congratulations, everybody.
All right, thank you, Toastmaster Michael. And how about your club, Toastmaster Michael? When do you guys meet?
I think we're meeting next Saturday. It was supposed to be today, but well, it's a holiday, so we'll just do it next time.
All right. So thank you, Toastmaster Michael. Let's give him a round of applause. We also look forward heartily to your coming membership with Toastmaster Nico. So looking forward to that in the coming weeks. Right at this juncture, we are actually going to proceed with a club concern. We're going to talk about the elections in our club because the election just concluded at 8 p.m. tonight. So we're going to make an announcement. So for our guests, um, you are free to stay, but of course you're also very free to apart from us to digress from our meeting this evening. So it's been a pleasure to have everyone, and we're also going to forward you the photo so that maybe you can post it on social media if you're the kind of people that do that as well. All right. So without further ado, I thank you for all of our guests for taking the time this meeting. Let's give everyone a round of applause. And I'm passing everyone over to our immediate past president, area director, President John Ikamen.
All right. Thank you, everyone. And of course, thanks to our guests as well. Thank you for visiting us tonight and to our visiting Toastmasters. So for the Queen City Toastmasters, I am here to share to you Queen City Toastmasters Club unofficial election results. I say that it's unofficial because, of course, with what I saw in the results, there needs to be there are some things that need to be addressed, and of course, we also need to give time for the elected officers, to view the results and also to give them time to share any protests or concerns, if any. All right, so let's go through this one for the president position. Joe. Before that, thank you for voting. We had 100% votes casted. So thank
Oh,
you for
wow.
participating in the form. Yes, thank you so much, guys. That's 19 responses. So I'm the 20th in the roster. So I cannot vote being the committee in this one. So that's for the president's results. And then this is for the vice president education. We have Ranz, Zyril, and then Eprilane. And then for the membership, we have a tie for Toastmaster Chai, Nancy, and then Zyril. And then for public relations, we have TM Dante, TM Gary, and then TM Chai. And then for secretary, you have TM Lisa, DTM Mariam, and TM Chai. And then for treasurer, we have TM Chai, TM Zyril, and TM Gary. And last but not the least, for Sergeant at Arms, we have TM Dante, TM Des, and then Tai again for third, but it's in the third place. So at this juncture, I believe we are still quorum in the roster and the meeting tonight. So I believe we can address some concerns tonight, especially with those who are present. For the tie and for those elected positions, the top positions, if ever there are protests or concerns, in the elected position. So let's start with the presidency. Toastmaster Joel, no protests, no concerns.
No protest.
May I? I don't think I can.
Oh
It's
wow.
good. That's
Thank
good.
you.
Thank you for the trust. Is all I would say.
Thank you, TM Joel. All right, moving on to
Congratulations,
the vice president
Joel.
education. For here, TM Rans, TM Zyril, and she's not here anymore. So from hello.
Go ahead, Toastmaster John.
TM Rans.
He is heavily contemplating.
Is he still in the room? Oh yeah, he is.
Yes, I'm
TM
still in the room.
Rans, go ahead.
I see it coming, and it's not because I'm assuming, but I can feel the need that I can feel that there's a need for us to really make a stand at this point of time. I had a meeting earlier because it's my first time to see the nominations around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I called up immediately our immediate past president, John, our Governor John, and I told him that I cannot accept it. My renewal, the purpose of my renewal is really, since part of my branding and part of my business track right now is to really, unlearn and relearn things. And my focus really is more into my personal growth as a speaker, but the pathways that I need to follow or need to walk on through is actually more into the marketing and sales and more into the presentations and etc. It's more into in line with the business that I am into right now, because online selling is the digitalization is actually the key right now. And I'm in that way right now in selling insurance right now, or sharing insurance value proposition is in digital form right now. It's quite different before. So that's why my focus is, ano ka ba, Jade? Huwag ka magsalita dyan, run persuasive influence. Ano ka ba? Huwag mo lang akong... Pwede ka na kumalas. So, so yes, the mastery actually. The second reason is that since I'm also part of two branches of Manulife, I'm the one who started Uzamis and Pagadian, facing a lot of challenges right now because of the COVID, so especially the top 15 in among the most infected, or with a lot of surge of COVID cases. And it really impacted the business cycle here in the business in the localities of Mindanao, especially Zamboanga Peninsula and the Misamis Occidental. So since I'm a manager and I'm also handling two branches, and it's quite hard for me because we're in the recruitment mode, a lot nawala. Yes, I understand I need to help the club, but I have hesitations that I cannot give my focus. So, DJ, wag mo na. I cannot accept it, but then, my dear friends, probably we can to meet halfway. Stop muna, DJ. Stop muna, DJ ba? Yung pakita daw nato tong kung seryoso biyagyo ko, kaya I really love Queen City because Queen City was really my springboard manggod. Pakikita, bro, I want to see your kwan. I want to see this. The second is Zyrel Enriquez, di ba? Or sino?
Yes, that's correct.
Zyrel.
That's correct. PM Zyril, second.
Okay. Ganito na lang, Mr. Governor. How about we'll make Zyrel, but it will be, on the record, Zyrel will be the VP Ed. And I'll be the one to work with Zyrel all the time with her, at least giving her the opportunity to rise to the challenge as well. Because dami eh. So, mas maganda siguro pag both of us, dalawa kami. I'll be the behind the scene of Zyrel, and I can help her in that area. Tulungan lang siguro. I'm meeting halfway, ha? I'm meeting halfway. How does it sound to you, my dear leaders?
Thank you so much for that, not PM Rans. I think all we heard everything of that, and I think we leave those inputs to be for the president-elect, Toastmaster Joel. So we really understand your your sentiments on this one. So yes, we will inform Toastmaster Zyril on this, on her second election, because she's now the the elected. And then yes, we can carry on with that plan in the future. Toastmaster Miko is raising his hand. Yes, Toastmaster Miko.
Yes, so I'd like to thank Toastmaster Rans for that meeting halfway as well. I think that's also in line with actually the recommendation that Toastmasters actually has for clubs. So the recommendation actually is that among the members, each vice president is actually an executive of his own committee. So basically, as Zyril is now the vice president elect, so basically Toastmaster Rans, you will just be part of her team, and you can also onboard members as you see fit. So we're also hoping in the future that a lot of the past presidents as well. I know it's the practice in Queen City that we don't really elect past presidents into positions, but this is something that we wanted to do at the start of this term, but of course, things happen, COVID happens. So we're hoping that with the intentionality of everyone coming together, really wanting to make Queen City really great again, we also encourage the past presidents to maybe not take the position, but really be part of that committee. So instead of it being like when it's the vice president PR and she's only the one person who works in PR, maybe her in combination with some past presidents who are experts in that field who can really make a difference. So that's it for me. Thank you,
Yes.
Govrans, and back to you, Toastmaster John.
Yes, thank you so much, Tia Miko. All right, moving on to the next Vice President membership. We have a tie actually for
Thank you,
Toastmaster
James.
Nancy and Toastmaster Chai. I think they are still in the room. Thank you, TM Jeeves. Thank you for joining us. TM Nancy and TM Chai, are you still in the room?
Yes, present.
Yes, I see also TM Nancy. So yeah, it's a tie. So maybe would there be any maybe we can hear from Toastmaster Chai first. What I see here is maybe someone would give it for the other one, or if you guys would continue with this one, we will have voting again. We will need to vote again for this one.
Okay, so
TM
feeling
Chai,
ko,
yes,
I'm
you first.
feeling kana elected officer back in high school. So anyway, thank you for this one. I never expected this one to be nominated. Marag nawahi lang ko ni Sir John og mention na Sir John, please do not nominate me. Considering that I have been in this Toastmaster meeting only or in Toastmaster for 2.5 months. I think by membership we are one of the youngest and we still have a lot to learn, and especially in this a great position, vice president already. I would like to decline because Sir John said I have the option to decline also. So thank you for this.
Yes, thank you,
Okay,
TM Chai.
very
That's
lovely, short and concise.
understood. Yes. How about you, TM Nancy? Are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Nako naman.
Sorry, loka na ko. Yeah, I'm okay with this.
All right, wonderful. Thanks so much, TM Nancy, and congratulations on this position. Next, we have VPPR. Dante is not in the room, so I will have to inform him if with regards to his acceptance. But if ever he won't be, he won't be accepting it. PM Gary, maybe we can ask na lang ahead because you're already here in the room. And I think you have late. I think you have something here. Oh, yeah. So yeah, TM Gary, maybe just hear your thoughts on this one. If ever you'll be second position elect, we will be
I will decline
accepting the
ahead. Sorry, but I don't think I am
Right. So
good at
TM
public
Gary.
relations. Yes, can you hear me?
All right, that's understand.
Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you, TM Gary. That's totally understandable. All right, so we will skip this. Like,
Is
are you still in the room?
oh, okay. We can hear you now, John.
Sorry. Yeah, I got choppy. So TM Lisa is the elected position. Are you there, TM Lisa? Would you
And
accept this position?
yes, I'm here, and I'd like to say thank you for voting me. But however, I may have to decline because my work is kind of demanding nowadays, so I may not be able to deliver my role as a secretary. But thank you.
John, can we define the
Yes.
rules? Is it okay?
Sorry,
I mean,
what?
I know because
What?
is it okay if we define the rules, because we have
All right.
young members. Very true. So
Yes.
if they do have questions as well, I mean, if they do have questions,
Yeah.
that will be nice. I mean, we could give answers to what extent talaga yung rule for each. Ano,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. For the secretary naman, Toastmaster Lisa, it's really more on documentation, and let me just open lang the the I believe I there. Wait lang. Para it's basically on document keeping, of course, minutes of the meeting for exit call meetings and other things. And then for secretary also, yeah, they're more on documentation, minutes of the meeting, and how do you call that? Navigation for files, for certain things to check, like club roster, those records and all. So technically, the familiar secretary job. Anyways, for the positions naman, there will be trainings for this one, and of course a manual that will help the elected members if that. So is that a final decision, Toastmaster? And of course, for the members, now you can add from experience if you can share also. Toastmaster Lisa, that's a final decision, right?
Yes, I'm sorry. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, TM Lisa. The next in line is Mariam. We know you're
As for me, sorry, John, we can't hear you. I'll just like to
oh
speak.
yes, TM.
I love it when we have when we have new set of people when it comes to for the officers. I think the same with Rans. What we could definitely help you with is to be there and to be a guide. So I think if there's anyone in the group right now, if you think like you want to be secretary, since Lisa
Yes.
cannot be, if you want to volunteer, like you've done something before, but you're not yet ready for the other position yet, but you want to continue working on your leadership, I'm going to leave this open in the sense that
Yes.
anyone who is new but who would like to work on their leadership, I could be there to guide them. The same with Rans. But I'm just going to leave this open because I just don't want to take that opportunity away when it comes to growth in terms of leadership. Sayang eh. Yun lang, that's for me, sayang. So I'm going to leave it
You're
open.
here. Yeah.
True. Thank you so much, DTM Mariam. The third in rank is TM Chai. How about for secretary? Or would you like to accept this or decline as well?
Decline as well, because I am a type of person who needs a secretary actually.
Let me help you with organization, Toastmaster Chai. Woohoo!
Yeah, no, actually, Tia Marian, being a school administrator and also one of the heads in pupils development for SEAP, Catholic Education Association of the Philippines school, the entire school here in Cebu and as well as in Bohol. So since I am tasked in the pupils dev, I cannot be a secretary. So I need a secretary for me to do this job.
Have the same work, you know. No kidding aside, Toastmaster Chai. But yeah, I hear you when it comes to that one. But you could also ask questions regarding that. I enjoy that kind of work as well, admin to school.
True. All right. Thank you for that, guys. So I think this position is open. I think that I'm not really sure what should happen next. I think we need to have an election for this one, or maybe if the president elect could just appoint. I'm not sure how this should go. May I ask advice on this one actually? I think that's it lang. We'll leave it open for the meantime. All right. For the treasurer, the list is again TM Chai. Would you like to be treasurer? The main role of the treasurer, anyways, is for club renewals. That's really the main part of the treasurer for the club renewals. Twice yearly, yeah, in a TM year's time. So more on transacting, collecting, and processing the form, the renewals. TM
Okay,
Nico is
I would
yeah.
accept this one since I can have my secretary also assist me in this one.
Yes, and all the officers as well will help you on this one. Thank you so much, TM Chai.
Okay.
President Miko was raising his hand, or was that applause?
Applause,
All right.
applause. It does
That was
applause.
applause.
All right. Last but not least, it's here. Yeah, it's here. TM Dante is Sergeant at Arms. So I believe we have to ask him again for accepting this position. For yeah, I think is TM Des still here? There, yeah. Just in case
Yes, I'm still
TM
here.
just in case TM Dante will not accept this, being second in position sa elect, will you be accepting this one if ever he will decline? Maybe just,
Uh, I
but
would
yeah, I think
rather
yeah.
someone who has not been president be have the opportunity to
Yeah.
be sergeant at arms, because like these days, well, I can be here early and also stay up late because we don't have glasses. But like earlier, I could not guarantee that I would always be on time, or I would always uh, be able to finish the meeting. It would depend on also the other skeds that I uh, of my other involvements. But for sure, I am going to participate in the meetings. So there, I would like to give the opportunity to other members.
All right. Thank you so much, TM Des. So again, just in case TM Dante will not I know will not accept the job. So TM Des also passes it on. So we will have TM Gary next, because I think Nancy has already accepted a higher position, or another position rather, in terms of club officership. So there, I'll get back on this for the club. All right, I think that's it for me. Again, that's why it's unofficial. So there are still some things to be addressed. So I will inform the rest of the club so that we can go on, we can proceed, and again, yeah, continue on. So hopefully within next week we can finalize this one. Thank you so much for your time, guys. I'm sorry for extending it. Back to you, PM Miko, for the official adjournment. Thank you, guys.
All right, thank you, Area Director and immediate past President Toastmaster John. I don't believe that there are any additional concerns, except that our next meeting is on June 26th. So save the date. And it is officially going to be our last Toastmaster meeting of this Toastmasters year. So we encourage everyone to participate and volunteer for roles. If not, you will of course be voluntold again, or volunteered by us, the officers. We encourage everyone to. We thank you for everyone who positions. Thank you, Toastmaster Chai, Nancy, Desire will accept. We know that she will. And the rest, hopefully, Sir Dante is more amicable. Effort put into the election, past President John. Um, I don't think there is a need for what it called need. Is there a move to adjourn?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
The meeting. Okay. The meeting. The motion to. I don't need to say it. I'm not sure. With the power of me as the president of Queen City Toastmasters Club, a club of very sleepy people right now, I hereby declare this meeting adjourned.
Tungkol na the music ni DJ.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thanks,
Good night,
everyone. Good
everyone.
night.
See you
Good
soon in
night.
the next meeting. We'll keep in touch for meeting roles. Good night. God
Thank
bless.
you.
Bye.
Night.